All right, welcome back to another edition of Inside New Albany Athletics. I am Richie Wildenhouse, Athletic Director at New Albany High School, and I am happy to be joined by our head boys lacrosse coach, Coach Danny Gibson. Coach, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing really well. We're hanging in there here in the Wildenhouse household.
The Wilden House.
Yeah, looking forward to some spring break. We're not going anywhere, but
Right.
like we were just talking about, trying to stay busy over spring break without, the prescribed schoolwork and all that kind of stuff. We're going to see how we fill the time. But yeah, everybody's doing really well. So how are you hanging in there during the layoff? And what are you doing to pass your time, when you're not working? And where are you holding it down right now?
Yeah. So right now I'm actually at the in-laws place up in Canton, Ohio. So we live, right down Thompson Road up there in New Albany. We were getting sick of the same few walls. So we had the blessing to be able to escape up here and have a little staycation. And we'll be here, 4 or 5 days or whatever, just change of scenery and walk around the neighborhood and things like that.
Sure.
Other than that, it's probably been the same situation for most people here. It's just trying to stay busy and trying to, have some type of continuous self-improvement if you can, whatever that looks like. For some, it's, getting better at video games. For some, it's trying to introduce fitness in their life. Sometimes it's cooking. I mean, I've been doing everything but video games. Like the last one I played was like PS1 or something, like NHL 2001.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the biggest things for me is I've been having a little bit more like fitness and cardio, structure, trying to stick to somewhat of a structure that we have when we're working, you know what I mean? Getting up at a certain time, going to bed at a certain time, trying to remain as normal as I can. But yeah, some extra things really. Cooking has made its way into my life. So pretty exciting relationship that we're building.
Nice.
Yeah. And other than that, I mean, some of the better things I'd say, and I'm seeing this all over the place, is just more time to focus on, myself, my thoughts, how I'm choosing to live, and then also different game nights, different ways to use technology instead of just sitting here scrolling down, the Twitter or Instagram social media platform that you're on. But yeah, like game nights, like fibbage, things like that, like doing things electronically. I've seen a lot of people doing like hangouts with their friends on, I've seen 12 different screens across your screen. You're like,
Sure.
All right, there's 13 people on this. But it's been tough. It's been interesting. There's been a lot of opportunity to reflect a lot.
Yeah, I agree on the cooking thing. My wife Colleen and I were talking that we haven't cooked this much in this period of time, maybe ever, right? So that means a lot of good home cooked food. It also means a lot of cleaning and dishes and all those things that come along with that. But yeah, we've enjoyed that part of it too. And then we found, spending family time, especially this time of year with spring sports, and there's something every single day usually. I'm home far more often than I would be otherwise, and so almost like reacquainting ourselves as a family during the school year, because we get a lot of hangout time during the summer, but during the school year we're doing that now when we otherwise wouldn't be. So it's been a lot of fun to hang out as a family, just even simple things like a movie night, right, where you just put things away and just hang out for a little bit. We've really been able to enjoy a lot of that time. Sounds like you guys are doing a lot of that as well. So
yeah, trying. I mean, if we had a house full, it'd be one thing, but
sure.
All of our everything we do is via some type of electronic device, so we're doing our best with that. But it's been fun. It's been a lot of funny memories, etc. Sharing old pictures, like whatever game you come up with. I mean, it's been fun.
Good. Well, you got married recently, right?
I did.
So that's some big news there.
Yep.
But in addition to that, we'd love to hear about the wedding and everything. So tell us a little bit about that, but also give a little bit of information just about your background and where you came from and how you ended up, getting here to New Albany.
Sure. Yeah, I'll start with a little bit of background. Originally from Grand Blanc, Michigan. It's like a suburb of the Flint area. Um, played hockey my whole life. Never really played lacrosse. Lacrosse didn't start for me until college. So I started much later than most of my counterparts around Central Ohio, coaching wise. But for me, it was hockey all the way up. I had to pick going and pursuing hockey or going to college. Most AAA players or AA players, you get to that point, you got to choose juniors or a school for some of them. So I chose to go to school, got really bored, like playing some club sports I'm not really good at, or like basketball, like I shoot with two hands. It's like the ugliest thing in the world. So I picked up a lacrosse stick for the first time. I knew what it was, but I didn't play in high school because of hockey. So a couple of us started a club team. I ended up running it for 4 years and then taking it over while I was in grad school at Northwood University up in Midland, Michigan. So that's how lacrosse came to be as far as, making its presence in my life, and made my way down to Columbus here after grad school. Coached for 5 years out in Pickerington at North. Met some great guys there, made some great connections and great relationships. Ended up being, the majority of our staff at New Albany now. I mean, most of the relationships that we have on the sideline currently are all relationships that we formed there, and then made my way over to New Albany when the job opened up, and I've been blessed to be a part of the program since.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So wedding. Figured that was the next question.
The wedding.
Everything went off like it was supposed to. It was the process could have been a lot harder. I've heard a lot of stories. And obviously going into that process, everybody's got their 2 cents. And then everybody wants to relive theirs a little bit, which is awesome because you learn a lot from it. You could also learn a lot of things that could go wrong in the process from certain stories that you hear. But no, we worked really well together on it. We nailed down as many details as we could early as we could. Then you get the floating roster and how many people can make it, how many people can't. So that's always the same headache, I guess. But it was beautiful down in Florida. We were very fortunate to be married down in Sarasota, Florida, with most of her family. Mom's side's from Sarasota, so she had a lot of family down there. And it was, we had to move it inside, so we didn't get to do it outside. But it ended up being perfect considering the weather and like 90 degrees and some humidity. I don't know about you, but I was really nervous for sweating out of my tux.
Right.
The day of, like, how did your black tux get darker? But yeah, it was great. And then we had a great honeymoon. We were gone for a week and then came back and still married. So hey.
Oh well, that's good. Good. That's good news.
Yeah.
You went to Greece, right?
Yeah, we went to Greece. We had gotten a hint of going to Greece at certain times of the year, and we went literally the last 2 weeks of the tourist season is kind of their, it's from like April to, we went late October. So, November 1st, it kind of shut down on the islands there, and it was fantastic. There's no lines for anything. It was, their service industry is unreal anyways, because they rely on it so much. Their customer service is top notch.
Sure.
But they're more talkative. You can build some more relationships just because they're not so busy. And it's nice talking to some of the people working there that live there.
That's great, man. It's definitely a bucket list location that we have. And one of our movies we watched the other night was Mamma Mia. So rekindled the whole the Greek Isles, destination. So
yeah, it's fantastic.
So if anyone pays any attention to social media, they know that you personally are active on social media, but you guys as a team, as a program, are very active on social media as well. And so we've seen over the last forever, but especially the last couple of weeks, some really cool social media content, getting the guys engaged through social media, posting their personal workouts, and putting those in a mashed up story and that kind of stuff. But is that the main way that you're currently staying engaged with your guys, or are you utilizing other means of communication? I mean, just really as a coach, what are you using to remain connected to your guys, especially since you're in season right now?
Yeah, so that's been a big question mark for so many coaches. I mean, I can't tell you how many that I've reached out to, both internally at the district, but also externally, just friends I know that also coach. And it might not even be in the Columbus area. I mean, it might be a buddy of mine that coaches up here at Jackson, or it might be some of my buddies that coach in Michigan or South Carolina. Everybody's going through this for the first time.
Right.
So there's really no data or no history or nothing you can even learn from if you tried. But that also is twofold. I mean, how good are the coaches out there with social media? What are the new things that kids are using? How are you trying to engage with what they're using versus what you're used to? Like, nobody's hopping on none of these kids are hopping on their Facebook to check their group. I don't think any of them, some of them do they know what Facebook, like MySpace, like all of that? I mean, what is it? So it's trying to meet them, where they're at.
Right.
And I think for us, a big thing, last week we started, because I mean, we've been banging our head against the wall. How do we do this? What's it look like? And the last thing you want to do is create a process and then 2-3 days later have to completely botch the whole thing. When you figure out another process or something that could be better. So we thought a lot about it, and it was dividing up into groups, more or less for team communication, and having those groups communicate with each other as, that electronic group, whatever that looks like. They can use their Team Snap, they can use their GroupMe, but they can also get each other's number and text each other. But it's been, like a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday workout each day. We have 12 total groups. Unfortunately, for some of the coaches, we are a group, so we were going through this as the kids. Sometimes you're like, okay, that workout that you designed for the kids is like terrible for you. And so needless to say, I've been getting the stretching has also been involved in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, we send that out, and the kids will send in like 3 groups a day. Will send in their videos, and they can break up the video. They don't have to film themselves doing the whole workout. Like, it's more or less like a piece. And if you and I and 3 others are in a group of 5, and the workout has 5 different pieces to it, maybe we all do one piece and send it in to coach or something like that.
Sure.
And it's just been able to keep them active. It's an accountability thing, but we're not really, we expect the kids to want to get better during this time. Like, we're not pushing accountability, or we're not pushing, these mandatory things. Like, if a kid wants to get better, kid can film his workout and send it to us every single day. They might not be one of those 3 groups, but we're trying to do as much as we can with what we can. And the kids seem to be having fun time with, getting on the Instagram, filming their stuff however they want. I mean, if, all the way down to like a team hangout session, with that same group. So they're doing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday workouts together and sending stuff in. And then Wednesday and Sunday, we meet with that group. At least 2 coaches will hop on a call with that group just to check in, to see how they're staying sane. Like, it's more just to check in rather than an accountability and trying to keep them around us like we would be in season anyway. I mean, we see these kids 9 months of the year sometimes. So it's tough. It's tough for everybody to go a week with a different schedule or no contact in that sense. But yeah, it's been Google Hangouts. It's been Instagram or Twitter. And it's been, Team Snap and GroupMe, really, for just sending random things, or kids will post videos of workouts that they did outside of our team workouts. So, but yeah, that's about it. I mean, social media piece and then like a Google Hangout twice a week.
It's been really cool to see the content that you guys create, and you do create a lot of excitement about your program through social media, and you guys, kind of do it at an exemplary, way, or in an exemplary way. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to touch on that because the way that you have stayed connected with your guys and also the community at large through social media has kind of really been a model. So, um, you had a few years under your belt here at New Albany. You're no longer really a new face around here. You become recognizable, I would say, just through being around for as long as you have. So, what I mean, I personally consider New Albany to be a pretty special place. I feel very fortunate to be not only living in this community, but also serving this community in this capacity. And so having been here now for, let's call it 3 years, how do you feel about, New Albany? What do you think makes it a special place? And why is it that you like coaching here?
Yeah, I think it is a very special place, and it's tough to put into words sometimes because some coaches have been in so many different settings, like coming from Pickerington North, where lacrosse was really just it was catching on. There was some excitement. We finally had a few good waves of really great waves of players come through and start to separate the program a little from where it was. But sometimes in general, it feels right to be there with the kids, but then it feels right to be working under the people you're working under, being around the places that you're around, and then also having the type of kids and the type of community that is conducive to the way that you want to coach and your energy. And I mean, there has to be a fit there. And I really felt that when I joined New Albany from the top down and from all lateral aspects. Mm-hmm. So it was the support and stuff from like you and having Kelly and working really hard as far as the athletic department goes, from a leadership and from a resource standpoint. But also it's the things that we're getting from the district and the constant communication that we can have with our administrators. Mm-hmm. And if we need to, like, GPA is really big for our team, and I can email a few of the administrators, no problem, and get information back regarding anything, any actions that have taken place in school that we need to address, or GPAs that are so high on our radar that, I can get that information back in less than a day sometimes. And those pieces are huge for us because we want those things to be high priority for us. Other than that, I mean, it's just the inclusion from other sports too. I mean, this has been great working with other coaches, being a part of some of the other programs. I know the boys and girls lacrosse team, we're working hard to bridge, our relationship and make it much more of a one program feel as best we can, but mainly from a support standpoint, but also other sports reaching out to me already about the spring before all of this happened, about like boys soccer, and Coach Ulrey reached out because they wanted to, pick one big game and come out in full force and like dressed in their theme and all of that stuff. And then all the way down from having cheerleading involved in one of our games last year, and already, in the process of planning for this year. So I love that it's much more of a community feel. It's not just boys lacrosse. It's not just lacrosse. It's all the coaches working together to make the best possible situation for all kids, because every student athlete, it's sometimes we forget this because I'm so focused on boys lacrosse that sometimes we don't think about other coaches and the priorities that they have for their kids. And I've never felt that way here. It's always been community. It's always been best for all the kids involved, depending on what sport it is. And it's been great having that. So I would say that's my number one. is that community feel more than everything.
Yeah, I would agree. We have a pretty special relationship and a culture amongst coaches, amongst programs, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of when I sit in my seat and watch coaches work together as well as you guys do, and then also just see how that benefits our student athletes and the experience that they get out of participating in the programs is so much better because their coaches are as in sync as you guys are. So it's a lot of fun to watch. You talked about kind of building a little bit at Pickerington North, and obviously you came into New Albany and it was an established lacrosse program, but there is a lot of momentum moving in a very positive direction in lacrosse in New Albany, especially on the boys side. Girls have had a ton of success, obviously, but what do you attribute that current momentum to, and how have you guys created that, and really how do you sustain it over the long haul?
Yeah, that's always the tough part is I wish I could sit here and tell you, like every other coach, that I'm going to be here for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's true and sometimes that's not. It all depends on the situation that you're in. But one thing, if I've learned anything in coaching, it's not just looking at 1 year. I mean, I really try to have a 4 or 5 year vision and then build, what does that look like? And so the first thing we had to do was build like our continue to grow our roots. The roots have been there. Lacrosse in New Albany's always been desirable, which is, I mean, one of the main reasons that we decided to join on over here. But at the same time, the growth in New Albany always had more opportunity in my eyes from like a K through 12 aspect. So it wasn't really how, what's our record going to be like this year? Are we going to win in the playoffs this year? It's always going to be mostly like, 3 or 4 years down the road, where do we need to be every year after that? And how do we get there? So that was our number one. And it's just the idea. If I talk to any of my coaches, or any of my buddies that coach, they're like, man, things at New Albany, you guys got to have it made. Well, grass is green where you water it.
Sure.
And yes, we have great resources in, a beautiful stadium, and a tight knit community, but none of that stuff matters if you're not putting the work in at the ground up. And so that was our number one thing, was to get involved with the youth as best we can and to make sure, as many people knew our coaches' names and faces, and then knew our intentions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's, I can have a blanket list of things to say, but when somebody sees our coaching staff out with, a group of 7th graders in the off season because they asked for it,
mm-hmm.
It's a big deal to them. Or, any type of involvement with the kids, whether it's youth night, whether they're on the end lines, ball boys, it could be anything, but constantly trying to make an effort to bridge that gap. But otherwise, I also see a lot of momentum from the newer wave of parents coming through. Mm-hmm. Lacrosse, frankly, for a lot of people, wasn't around when they were younger or in school. They didn't know what lacrosse was. And it's catching on to the point now where kids want to play it. Their parents don't know what it is. But they're going to sign their son up for it or their daughter up for it. But now you're getting parents who played or are more aware of it than ever before. And that's only going to continue to grow. So between our efforts, ground up, and then just a natural wave of a new parent that is coming in with more exposure to lacrosse itself, I think we'll use all of those things to make sure we're continuing as much momentum as we can.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. I mean, you guys have definitely built an excitement. And again, not that the excitement of lacrosse didn't already exist, right? It's just kind of been taken to a new level. So no, it's great for our community, and you guys have done a great job of, aligning, and we talk about this all the time, right? Vertical alignment with our teams, and every single coach we talk about that with, and you guys really have done a great job of aligning not only just the lacrosse and the sport, but also the philosophy of bringing players up in competitive environments, and also giving them the skills for them to be successful at the youth level, moving into the middle school level, and then also, obviously making their way into the high school program. And so, and maybe not a lot of people know that, but you guys have really done a lot of good work there of having a very good vertical alignment within your sport and the community. Yeah, so a couple fun little questions here to finish up with.
Sure.
Want to kind of have a few laughs and get to know you a little bit better, but
right, here we go.
I don't know I don't know if this gets to know you a little bit better, or maybe just the brain of the personality behind Danny Gibson. But all right, so how do you feel about putting pineapple on pizza? What's your feeling about that?
Pineapple on pizza, I don't think it's not a hard pass. But I think it has to be coupled with the right things for sure.
Okay.
And I feel like it's almost like a mood topping. Like if you're feeling it, if it's a nice day out, if it's one of those, like I can't just walk in, somebody goes, "Hey, you want pizza?" And I'm like, "Yeah, order, make sure you get pineapple."
Okay, so it's not a staple, but it's also like it's not a wintertime kind of pizza ingredient. Is that what you're saying?
Is that what you were saying?
Well, I mean, I asked the question.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think it's one of those that's very much you got to feel it at that time, and it's going to be amazing, but you're not going to want it again for, however long.
There are a lot of traditionalists that would say that you're absolutely wrong and that pineapple has no place on pizza. I'm not saying that I'm one of them. I'm just saying that for the record, Coach Gibson is saying that pineapple is acceptable on pizza.
Yep. In the right circumstance, in the right environment, absolutely.
So there's some qualifiers, but the answer is yes, pineapple belongs on pizza.
Yeah, and you guys are always welcome to reach out and talk through that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Depending on how you're feeling.
All right, so what is the most ridiculous fact that you know?
It's funny, somebody, I forget who it was, I was trying to think of this earlier because it came up. You cannot hum while plugging your nose. Yeah, I've never tried it.
You try it first.
Try it. You want to try it at the same time?
Yeah, let's try it. Here we go.
All right, we'll go. So plug your nose and then try to hum. We'll go on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I don't know. I'm humming. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's not like your normal hum. That's a pretty tough one.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Yeah, you cannot. Yeah. All right, that's an interesting fact. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and that was one thing that I was like, that's a random fact. I don't know if I'll do anything with it ever again, and then here we are.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of people out there right now that are trying to plug their nose and hum.
They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it because you're gonna need to know, and it's okay.
We have thousands of viewers, Coach. I don't know if you knew that or not, but
hundreds of thousands. Yes. Hi, everyone at home.
Yeah. So with this current state of coronavirus or COVID-19, there's been a big push on toilet paper sales and all that kind of stuff. So this is a TP question.
TP.
When Coach Gibson is installing the new roll of toilet paper, are you going over or are you going under? How are you putting that thing on the roll?
So I am one of those guys that I don't do a lot of things for no reason.
Okay.
So there's a little science behind it. It might make me weird, but I can't go under. I'd rather go over, just because you have direct access to a nice rip.
Okay.
If you miss the rip and you're under, you're losing. It's all on the floor unraveled, and you got a big issue on your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes complete and total sense. Absolutely.
I'm just saying. Think about it next time, and I know you will while you got your nose plugged and you're trying to hum.
And I'm trying to hum. I'll be thinking about my toilet paper roll.
That's exactly right.
Hey man, anything you'd like to say to your guys or to the community or whatever before we sign off?
I just want everybody to hang in there as best they can. I mean, now are the time, like these times, these pauses in life. I mean, think about how busy you were the week before everything happened. Think about some of the moments that you didn't get to have with your family or with yourself for some reflection. To start something new or a new skill, or it could be cooking, it could, whatever. But think about some of the things that you're getting the opportunity to do now because of it,
Mhm.
and just be grateful for what you've got and those opportunities that you didn't have before because you were too busy or life was moving too fast or we forget to shut down. But everybody's in this thing together, and nobody's going to end up nobody goes through this process and benefits any more than one another unless you're willing to use this time to make yourself better. So I just hope everybody has the opportunity to find something for themselves and try and continue to get 1% better every single day.
That's good. Well said, man. I couldn't say it any better, so I won't. I appreciate you taking
If you
time.
have too many of these things, there's no way you can say it better like 40
Uh,
times.
I appreciate you taking time, man, and best to you and the family up there in Canton. And we
Yeah.
hope to see you in person real soon.
Sounds good. Well, I'll be running around the community, I'm sure, the minute I'm back. But I hope everything goes well with you and the family too. And
Thank you.
try and keep that lacrosse stick in your kid's hand, and we'll go from there.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you.
See you.